Hey.
Hey, yourself. What's up?
One of the guys from Monsters Den has been helping me with some research. Did you know we're not the first people to see mysterious all-black helicopters?
No? I guess that's good.
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of theories out there that are associated with them. Cattle mutilations, Men in Black, New World Order.
Lucas, is your online friend a crazy person?
I know. A lot of it is pretty out there, even for us. I didn't say I believe any of it, but it is good to know we're not alone in the things we've seen.
Was there anything else?
Listen, I've given you a lot of time to process this on your own, but I think we should talk about this psychic business.
Lucas, I told you, I don't have psychic powers.
Mia, when I was kidnapped, you found me from a dream, and then you heard me being tortured in your head. Not to mention all those funny little gut feelings you just happen to get around cryptids. That sure sounds like psychic powers to me.
I found you at the place that you were most likely to be. It just took a dream to make me realize that. And I don't know what I heard. And all that other stuff, it's just coincidence.
Yeah, okay, and the Jersey Devil is just a bird.
I'm not psychic.
Mia, how are you still so close-minded?
Close-minded?
Yeah, you're always talking about doing things the right way. Science this, science that. You want to be a real researcher. I get it. But isn't the whole point of science to look at data and come up with a theory that explains it? Not to start with a theory and ignore all the data you don't like.
Lucas.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, but there's nothing to talk about. Not every crazy story can be real. You're being ridiculous.
Fine.
Don't scare the tats.
Sorry, Fritz, but you need to talk some sense into Mia. It had been about a week since our encounter with the Piazza and the mysterious black helicopter that stopped it. At this point, we were still looking for possible cryptids nearby and deciding where to go next. I think we should head to Delaware.
Delaware? I kind of forgot that state exists. What's in Delaware?
Not quite sure exactly. Something in the water.
Something. Yeah, that sounds right up our alley. So, what is it? Another lake monster?
No, some kind of humanoid, actually. And not a lake, it's the ocean.
Well, we've seen humanoid creatures before, but in the ocean, huh? That's new.
Yeah. The weird thing is there's no real cryptid history in the area either. Just this wave of sightings about a year ago. And the reports are all vague. They basically just mention people seeing shapes in the water that appear humanoid but are definitely not human.
Wow. Thanks for being so incredibly thorough. What makes you think they're not misidentifications? Or just an outright hoax?
Well, a few people have also gone missing in the past year. Adults. Well, teens, too. But my point is nothing like Abby, no kids.
You did end up being right about that, but you don't think these could just be random average disappearances?
Yeah, of course they could be, but I don't know, I've just got a hunch that they're not. The people that went missing were all from the same town as the sightings. It seems like a pretty big coincidence to me. Police have been investigating, but officially, they don't think there's any connection between them.
And we do?
You bet.
Okay, so you think this mystery creature is, what, kidnapping people?
Or killing them.
Wait a minute.
What?
Humanoid creatures?
Yeah.
In the ocean?
Yeah.
Please don't tell me we're looking for mermaids! First a dragon, now mermaids? What's next, a unicorn?
I didn't say mermaids. But I don't know, it could really be anything.
Killer mermaids?
Yeah, I didn't say mermaids. But whatever we're looking for, yeah, I think could be dangerous.
Alright then. Let's see if we can stop the little mermaid from killing people.
The sightings had all come from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, so that was our destination. We packed our bags and hit the road. So, like I said, since there's not really any local history of cryptid sightings, I decided to just go a little more general in my research. And there's actually a ton of mythology for aquatic humanoid creatures from all around the world. You've got mermaids, meros, sirens, selkies, kelpies, nereids, naiads, vodunoi, rusalkas, kappas.
Whoa. Okay, slow down. Now, how about you tell me about each of them one at a time?
Okay. Mermaids, or mermen. These are pretty obvious. Half human, half fish. In some legends, they're dangerous, and in others, they're helpful. From like the 1600s to the 1800s, sailors were pretty consistently reporting sightings of them.
I can't believe we're really talking about mermaids.
I actually agree with you. Whatever's out there, I'm sure it isn't literally half human and half fish. Now, meros are pretty similar. They're basically the Irish version of mermaids. They look a little fishier, with webbed hands and green hair, stuff like that. Supposedly, the females were beautiful and would lure men away, whereas the men were hideous, and they would steal the souls of drowned sailors and keep them underwater. They also wore these magic hats that let them live in the ocean. If they lost their hat, they wouldn't be able to go back underwater.
Luring men away. Okay. That could be related to the disappearances.
Just what I was thinking. Speaking of luring men away, you ever read the Odyssey?
Parts of it.
Well, that brings us to sirens. They're usually described as more bird-like, but according to myth, they live on beaches around rocky water and sang songs so beautiful that sailors would sink their ships just trying to get to the shore. Now, in the Odyssey, Odysseus had his men fill their ears with wax so they wouldn't hear the music, but he tied himself to the ship's mast so that he could listen to their song without endangering the crew.
I'm starting to see a common thread here.
Exactly. A lot of luring people away. Now, granted, I don't think there is actually a monster out there singing some beautiful song, but if all these myths have some basis in reality, I definitely think they could have something to do with the disappearances.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so selkies. The selkie myth comes primarily from Scotland. They were seals that could remove their skin and turn human.
Ugh.
Apparently, they were super seductive, and sometimes humans would actually steal the seal skin, forcing them to stay in human form and get married. In most stories, the selkies would finally manage to get their skin back years later and just abandon their family and return to the sea.
Interesting.
And similar to selkies are kelpies, which are also a Scottish myth. Usually they're depicted as horses that live in rivers and lakes. They would trick people into riding them and then take them into the water and drown them. But in some legends, they could also take on a human form.
Okay, more drowning people.
Yeah. Going back to Greek mythology, you've got a bunch of different kinds of water nymphs.
Nymphs sound familiar. They're like fairies, right?
Yeah, kind of. In general, nymphs were spirits, usually the offspring of other gods, tied to different natural locations. Essentially, naiads were freshwater spirits, streams, lakes, fountains, that sort of thing. Nereids were spirits of the Aegean Sea and the Mediterranean, and oceanids, well, they were ocean nymphs. They're all pretty much generally depicted as young women, but there's not much else to mention there.
Simple enough.
Next is the vodunoi, which, as far as I can tell, is actually just a singular entity. He's described as an old man with the head of a frog and covered in scales and algae.
Gross.
Yeah. He was supposedly capable of destroying dams, drowning people, and even taking people underwater to be his slaves.
More kidnapping.
Yup. Now, rusalkas, or I guess rusalki is the plural, they're from Russian folklore, but they're similar to water nymphs. Only in some versions of the myth, they're actually the ghosts of women who committed suicide or drowned. And once again, they were known for seducing men into the water and drowning them.
Wow. I didn't realize how many mythical creatures there were that seduced and drowned people.
You got that right. Finally, though, for something a little different, we have the kappa. Now, the kappa is a yokai, which is basically what mythological creatures are called in Japan. A lot of Pokemon are actually based on yokai.
Oh, cool.
I know, right? Now, the kappa is basically a large bipedal turtle with what is essentially a water-filled bowl or depression on its head.
What?
Yeah, I don't get it either. Kappa are sometimes described as dangerous, but more often than not, they're usually just portrayed as tricksters. Either way, legend has it that they can either be placated with cucumbers, which are their favorite food, or failing that, bowing.
Bowing?
Yeah, kappas are apparently very big on manners. If you bow to a kappa, it'll bow back. And when it does, the water on its head will pour out, and the kappa will be powerless until the water is refilled.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's a lot of stories. Any actual sightings?
In general, well, like I said, sailors have supposedly been seeing mermaids for hundreds of years. Some of the more famous witnesses actually include Christopher Columbus and Edward Teach, aka Blackbeard.
A genocidal shithead and a pirate. Not the best of sources.
Can't argue with that, I guess.
Anything more recent, I hope?
A few. There was a wave of sightings in Israel in 2009. People claimed to see a mermaid jumping out of the water and doing aerial tricks.
Seriously?
That's what it says. In 2012, construction work stopped on some reservoirs in Zimbabwe. The workers claimed that mermaids chased them away from the build sites, and so they refused to return to work. And finally, there are the sightings from Rehoboth Beach. I can only find reports of 3 witnesses, and all of them are from last summer.
You said they were pretty vague?
Yeah, the only articles I could find were like 2 sentences long. They just mentioned something humanoid in the water.
That's really not much to go on.
I know. But someone on the message board lives about an hour away. They couldn't tell me much themselves, but apparently they've heard secondhand rumors that there was a lot more to the sightings than the news articles let on.
Okay, so besides mermaids, what do we think it could be? Any ideas?
Yeah, I actually found 2 theories I think you'll like.
Alright, lay it on me.
Well, for starters, the classic explanation for mermaids have been misidentifications of animals, primarily manatees and dugongs.
Aww, yes. The beautiful cows of the sea.
Apparently, they sometimes float upright like a person treading water. And I guess if seaweed stuck to them, it might look like hair.
That sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Yeah, but I don't know, it just seems like it'd be easy to tell if something were a manatee or not.
What's the other theory?
Well, given that there are mermaid-like myths all over the world, I think it's safe to at least say they're probably based on something real. There's one pretty popular theory out there that a group of primates could have evolved to live in the water. Kind of like seals, but, not so evolved that they didn't still look like primates.
Given all the creatures we've seen so far, cryptids do seem to possess odd evolutionary traits. I'm not against it.
Me neither.
Well, either way, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
After 2 days of driving, we finally reached Rehoboth Beach. It was a nice resort town, just a few hours east of the nation's capital. It sat right on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, and its beaches extended south into the tiny neighboring town of Dewey Beach. Dewey Beach was a strip of land barely half a mile across, surrounded by water on both sides. These beaches were part of a long, uninterrupted stretch of sand that continued for miles, all the way down into Maryland. Our first goal in Rehoboth was tracking down a witness. Luckily, the friend I had mentioned from the Monsters Den message board knew a guy who knew one of the witnesses, Devon. They put me in touch with Devon, and he agreed to meet with us the next night after we had gotten into town.
Hey, you two must be Lucas and Mia.
Yup. Devon?
It's a pleasure.
Hello.
So, you two want to know about that creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yeah. Whatever you saw. Anything you can remember.
Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was right off that dock over there, just after dawn. I've been out there for a few hours by this point fishing, and usually I have pretty good luck, but that day, nothing. Finally, I get a small bite, and as I go to reel it in, I see it. It looked just like the gill man. 2 big webbed hands reaching up out of the water.
It reached out of the water?
Damn right it did. Stole the fish right off my line.
Wow. The article I found didn't mention any of that.
No, I was interviewed about it, but apparently the story wasn't interesting enough to go into any detail.
And you haven't had any trouble remembering what you saw?
No, why would I?
It's nothing. Just doesn't happen very often.
Well, that's all I've got. I hope I could help.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Devon got me thinking.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon. It reminded me. You ever hear the deep ones?
No. Sounds pretty deep.
Real funny. They're from Lovecraft.
Wasn't he a horror writer?
Yeah. You should check out some of his work, actually. Most of it takes place in New England, which is pretty cool. Anyway, the deep ones are this race of fish people that live in the Atlantic Ocean. They apparently mated with human women, and the offspring looked human at first, but would eventually turn into more fish people and return to the sea.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, I know he wrote fiction, but given their description and the fact that they lived in the Atlantic, I figured I might as well mention it. Who knows, maybe he heard some legends that inspired his work.
I guess it's possible. I've been thinking too. Devon sounded legit. I do think there's probably a cryptid here, but those disappearances? Come on, this place is a total resort town. I'm sure people come and go all the time.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case here. I did some more digging since we got into town. They were all local residents, and as best as I could tell, they all spent a lot of time down by the ocean.
I'm sure everyone that lives here spends a lot of time by the ocean.
Okay, but still, I just don't think we should rule it out.
Fine, you might be onto something. Might. But I guess we should try finding the damn things first.
So we finally began investigating. Given that the sightings all came from the beaches, we decided to stick to the coastline for now. I could get used to this.
Yeah, can't remember the last time I actually went to the beach just for fun.
What about Bear Lake?
That was business.
Right. But it was also fun.
I suppose.
We should keep investigating cryptids in beautiful and exotic areas.
We can't be choosy.
I know. We go where the monsters take us.
Exactly.
So, what are our chances of finding anything out here?
Probably not great, if I'm being honest. Considering that they've all been seen so close to land, then it's possible they might also come up out of the water. Like turtles, seals, things like that. But with the tides coming and going, our chance of finding any prints are pretty low.
Dang. I don't really have any idea when they're most active.
Nope.
Cameras?
Yeah, that could work. It'll at least give us an idea whether or not we're on the right track.
Since Rehoboth Beach was a pretty popular vacation spot, we decided to set up our cameras in some of the less crowded sections of beach. Hopefully then we wouldn't accidentally get any pictures of wild tourists. After setting the cameras up, we left them for a few days to capture footage.
Yes!
We got pictures?
We sure did. Check these out.
Messed up, all right. Certainly looks like the work of the fog to me.
Yup. These were triggered around midnight. I say head back to our room for now and come back at nightfall.
Sounds like a plan. Once the sun began to set, we made our way back to the area around the camera that had been set off. It was located at the mouth of a small, secluded cove. As we approached the cove, however, we realized we weren't alone.
Hey, quiet. Turn your light off. A party? Seriously?
What do you think, college kids?
Or teenagers?
Of course. People see monsters and then people start disappearing. Let's go party outside in the middle of the night.
Good point. With that kind of stupidity, definitely teenagers.
So what now?
Well, options are come back tomorrow night and hope for a quieter beach, or we try to investigate tonight anyways.
Sorry, kids. Hate to break up the party, but we're looking for fish people. We're gonna need you to get out of here. Yeah, that'll go great.
Well, we could just call the cops on them. Have them break it up for us.
Yeah, good point. Wait a sec.
What?
Is it just me, or are they all dressed the same? The assembled crowd didn't seem to have any lights with them, but there was a clear sky, and the full moon gave us just enough light to see by. Robes?
What the fuck? I don't think this is a party.
Yeah, this is kind of creepy.
This better not be some Jonestown Heaven's Gate shit.
I don't know what it is. And why are they out on the beach? If this is some kind of weirdo cult, shouldn't they be in, like, some basement dungeon or something?
Maybe they're worshipping nature, like Wiccans or something.
Right. Let's go watch.
What?
Come on. These people look crazy. If we're not going to get any real work done tonight, we might as well get some entertainment. Think they're getting ready for a swim? Some kind of magic polar plunge?
Not dressed like that, they're not. Okay, no. This is the kind of creepy shit I was worried about.
What are those guys doing? Oh my god. We need to get out of here.
Wait.
Gut feeling.
Shut up. Look. What the fuck is that?
One of our mermaids. Standing outside the cove, we watched a group of robed figures form a semicircle around the shore facing the water. As they began chanting, two of the figures stepped into the center of the group. One seemed to be leading the other. The leader brought the other to a kneeling position before, as best as we could tell, slitting his throat. The leader rejoined the rest of the group and the semicircle spread out a little. And then a dark shape emerged from the water and started eating the dead body. That was it for us. We got out of there as fast as we could. Not very heroic, I know, but this was way above our pay grade. Even Mia agreed that there was nothing we could do. They outnumbered us at least 6-1, and that's not even counting the fish monster. So once we were out of there, we called the cops and told them everything. Well, everything except for the monster coming out of the ocean. We also mentioned all the missing persons cases, and they probably thought we were crazy, but they said they would investigate. Unfortunately, either the mysterious robed figures got away, or the police are staying tight-lipped about finding anything. We followed the news closely for the next few days, but didn't hear anything. So, do we keep looking for the deep ones, or what?
I don't know. I think we should probably leave. I need to start recognizing when a problem is bigger than us.
Yeah, that was messed up. I'm not gonna argue, but...
What?
Did you see the guy standing to the left of the leader? The really tall one?
No, I don't think I got a good look. Why?
Well, I could be imagining things, but he looked a lot like Todd Cooper.
Todd Cooper. Why does that name sound so familiar?
He was the last person in town that went missing.
Field notes. I'll be honest, I had some trouble deciding what to call this creature. Mermaid is out, since they don't look anything like mermaids. And also, that would just sound ridiculous. Lucas is partial to deep ones, but naming them after an explicitly fictional race also seems silly. So I decided to just go with fish people. Well, I created a scientific name for it, ichthyanthrope. Like how lycanthrope means wolf person. So anyway, having said that, ichthyanthrope. Given the vast amounts of mythology describing aquatic humanoid creatures around the world, I feel pretty comfortable saying that the one we saw was most likely a member of an entire species, and not just some singular anomaly. The name might have given this away, but the creature did appear to be some kind of bipedal fish. It was approximately 5 feet tall, though it did have a slight hunch, so it could have been slightly taller. Despite its height, it appeared larger due to its massive head and stocky build. It had 2 arms that reached almost to the ground and walked upright on 2 shorter legs. It also had a fin tail about the same length as its arms. Its body was covered in scales, its hands and feet were webbed, and it had a small fin on its back. Interestingly enough, Lucas pointed out to me that the creature actually resembled a lobe-finned fish. These were an ancient family of fish that included the once thought extinct coelacanth, which is a popular mascot of the cryptid world. Lobe-finned fish are also the creatures that eventually evolved into amphibians. So basically, all land animals on Earth can trace their ancestry back to them. Which is all a roundabout way of saying that this species, like sharks and alligators, could be incredibly ancient and could have remained virtually unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Also, despite the fact that it ate human flesh, I don't think they're actually dangerous. Carnivorous, yes, but it didn't seem like it was used to eating humans. And it didn't kill the man. The others did that for him. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out for coastal reports. Maybe we'll get lucky and find them again someday. End field notes.
The Cryptid Cases has been a production of Little Giant Monsters.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or tell a friend. It really helps others find the show.
If you'd like to follow us on social media, search for Little Giant Monsters on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can also visit our website, littlegiantmonsters.com.
Check out any of these pages to see other projects we're working on, as well as a new cryptid sketch every Monday after the new episode.
Thanks for listening, and see you again soon.